Hi, so I am, let me just say once again, lost in the switching of the boss DD-8. So let's see, probably someone can help me with this. What I wanted to do here is combine two signals into one mono signal. But yeah, it doesn't work. This thing has so many features. And I just found out, well, what I'm doing here is the B signal is going to run through, but the A signal will really only affect the repeats of the delay, and it will only do that if I switch it on. So let me just demonstrate this. With it all off, you'll just hear the dry signal with the pitchfork. Well, let's just make this more clear with a bit of distortion. So and that's so far so normal, but when I switch all these on, I don't even hear them, right? So the signal is not being affected because they are all A signal, and it's only going to be affecting the repeats, and it will only do that if I switch it on, which it's a great idea if you want to affect only repeats, but right now I'd like to have these all in my signal, that signal being combined to a mono signal, and that doesn't work, right? So these are all waiting in line for me to switch this on, and now they'll only affect the repeats. Yeah. So it's a cool idea to have these, wet effects waiting in line for you to kick in the delay, and then they'll only affect the repeats. Great. Yeah. Except I didn't want to do that. And I've been looking for this for the whole week. I just don't seem to be able to find out if it's even possible to just combine both signals, having them both, normally running in some kind of wet-dry split scenario, but then combining them to a mono signal in order to have, after that, a mono whatever effect that will be affected by anything I do up front the chain. And also, yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with it. Also, it's important for me in order to be able to put it all into one channel of the recording device so that the other channel stays free for vocals actually. So I want to have split signals in the recording device. In order for me to have that, I really need to have my whole signal chain going into one input, not affecting both. So anyway, long story short, if someone knows how to pull this off, how to have, the same function you have here, if I put two signals in here and I go out mono, they will combine into one mono signal. And I'm sort of sure you can't do that with the DD-8. In terms of these switching scenarios, Boss is just a company that usually offers stuff like that, right? I guess I'm really just too dumb, so if someone might help me out. Oh, and by the way, it's not, whether you select the output being A or B, I won't film it all over, but I tried, obviously. That doesn't change that problem. This is just, the thing is, the B signal is now running through, the A is affecting only the repeats. Well, if I take the output being A, and this being marked mono really doesn't change anything about it. If I switch to the output A, that will only mean that the A signal is going to run through instead of the B signal. And the B signal is then going to affect all the repeats instead of vice versa as I have it now. And yeah, it will affect delay time too, so B is always longer and A is always shorter. But all that fancy stuff aside, it's really great to kind of sophisticatedly affect the repeats only with some kind of stuff that you put up front. It really doesn't solve my problem. I just want to have, when it's switched off, I want to have, these buggers all running, and I want to hear them, which I don't right now, and I only do when I switch it on. Yeah. So long story short, combining two signals into one mono signal, is that something that DD-8 from Boss can do, or is it something the thing just can't do? Because I'm having trouble recombining signals. It's nice to split everything, They have a lot of pedals that can split your signal. This one can, this one can, this one can. They all kind of can, but if you want to ever recombine those, it's kind of getting less easy, right? Anyway, thanks for any kind of tips. Goodbye.